Hi everyone, welcome back to my booktube channel. Hope you're all doing well. Today's video is a reading wrap up for January and February. I was originally only going to do it for February, but I only read 3 books in January, so I thought I'd include them as well. As it's my first ever wrap up, I thought I might as well. Obviously I wouldn't have made a January wrap up only reading 3 books because I feel like that's a little bit pointless. It'd be quite a short video. But yeah, let's get into it. So to kick off my book reading journey this year, I started off with a duology, which is the Letters of Enchantment duology. So we have Divine Rivals, which is number 1. Then we have Ruthless Vows, which is number 2. These are by Rebecca Ross. How stunning these covers are, just up close. Look how stunning they are. I absolutely love them. I'm really sad that I didn't get the special edition ones of these from Fairy Loot, but I'm still on their wait list. And they're crazy expensive now, so I have to do with these, but these are just pretty enough as it is. So number 1, this follows Iris and Roman. They're both journalists. They work at the same place. They're both aiming for the same higher position, so they're basically rivals at this point. It's almost like a competition to see who can get the spot. It starts with Iris's older brother Forrest going off to war. There's a war between Dacre and Enver going on. Enver's the good side, Dacre's the bad side. So she starts writing to her brother whilst he's away at war. She's got a typewriter that she uses and he doesn't reply at all. And as the story goes on, we find out that her letters are actually being received by Roman, who she works with, but Iris doesn't know this. I won't tell you how he receives them, why, or anything like that, because read the book, it's perfect. This is Dual Point of View. It is secret identity, it's romance, historical fiction, fantasy. It touches on magic, slow burn, he falls first, which is one of my absolute favourite tropes. So yeah, this is obviously, it follows on the war. She ends up becoming a journalist for a different company, and she ends up going onto the battlefield to write stories about the war that's happening, because obviously it's kind of like where they live, the war hasn't hit their hometown yet, it's like in surrounding areas. So she goes out to the battlefield and she's writing reports with one of her friends to send back home to kind of let the people at home know what's truly going on. I don't want to say too much about these because obviously they're that good that I just want, if you haven't already read them, I want you to go in with a complete open mind, not knowing anything, because these are honestly just perfect. Obviously they end up falling in love towards the end. I won't say why, but they do get separated. These books, by the way, are so good that they literally put me into the biggest reading slump ever. I tried to read 4 books after reading these and just nothing was being absorbed, nothing at all. Tried to read The Never King, the Peter Pan retelling. I can't remember who the author is. That was rubbish. That was actually rubbish though, that's part of the reason why I couldn't finish it. Behind the Net, I think it's called. I only gave that like 2 pages worth, I think I read, and then I stopped, so that's partly my own fault, but I just again couldn't get into it. Not necessarily that it was a bad book, I probably will go back to it at some point this year, but I just couldn't. And then like A Ruin of Roses I tried to read as well. Yeah, A Ruin of Roses, that's what it's called, isn't it? I can't remember who the author is again. I read the prologue, which is about 6 pages long, I think, and then I read chapter 1, and I think I read chapter 2 as well. I just couldn't get into it. It reminded me of Akatar, which obviously isn't a bad thing, because I did enjoy Akatar, but I just couldn't get into it at all. Not at all. Obviously, like I said, this ends up on them 2 being separated, which is obviously where Ruthless Vows comes in straight afterwards. I wouldn't say it's left on a cliffhanger, but it's kind of obviously left open. So in this one, Iris has returned to her hometown. No one has any idea where Roman is. They don't know if he's alive. Roman, when he does come around, he has no memory of anything. It's all been wiped away. And I will tell you, he is actually with Dacre and that side of the war. So in this, he has to work to get his memory back. He basically him and Iris have to fall in love all over again. But yeah, I'm not going to tell you too much about it. That's all I'm going to tell you, because I don't want to ruin it. But if you're looking for fantasy, historical fiction, anything like, or just even romance, just read these books. That's all I can say, is just read these books, because they were perfect and I loved them. I would definitely reread these at some point. I don't think I'll reread them this year. I'll probably reread them next year, but we shall see. The third and final book for January was Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. I think I'm pronouncing that right. This follows Mallory, who's a recovering addict. She'd come out of rehab and she's looking for a job. Her sponsor, like from rehab, actually ends up finding her a job with, I think, like a family member's friend kind of thing, where she ends up becoming a nanny for a 5-year-old called Teddy. When she moves in, she kind of realises that everything's not quite right. Teddy has an imaginary friend called Anya, who starts drawing pictures. Some of them seem quite cute to begin with, and then like they get a bit more sinister as the book goes on. Just show you that picture there. So yeah, he obviously has this imaginary friend. Mallory picks up on it pretty much straight away. She gets quite concerned about it. His parents are really dismissive, just saying like he's been through a lot, it's normal to have imaginary friends, that kind of thing. There's a big plot twist at the end. It's a psychological thriller almost. I should put my phone on silent. What was I saying? Oh yeah, his parents are really like dismissive of the thing. They try and make out that it's normal for a young child to have an imaginary friend and to be drawing pictures. But Mallory obviously knows that there's more to the story than what they're letting on. I think at one point they even try and convince her that she's the one that's going crazy and stuff like that. But yeah, big plot twist at the end. I enjoyed it. I think I rated it 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't my favourite. And this book is really quite raved about, so I was expecting a little bit more. I wouldn't say I was disappointed in the twists that was in the book, but I was a bit like, meh. Obviously, I forgot to say, but Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows were both 5 stars, obviously. But yeah, I think I'd like to try some more of his books, but we shall see. This one, it didn't leave me disappointed. But I think I had higher hopes for it than what I actually received. This was my book club pick for January as well. So me and my best friend, my niece and my niece's best friend, we all read it. I don't know what they rated it actually, probably higher than me, but yeah, I think overall we all enjoyed it. But yeah. Now on to the books that I read in February. I read a total of 8 books. I'm not going to do them in the order that I read them, just because I read a series and I read books in between, because I needed a little bit of a break in between the series. Not that it wasn't good, I just needed a little like cleanser between some of them. So I'm going to start with the only book that I read on my Kindle, which was Where's Molly by H.D. Carlton. If you watched my last video, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of hers. I love her writing. She's a dark romance author. So if you haven't read anything of hers but you're looking to get into it, read, check the trigger warnings if you are someone that gets triggered by things. Fortunately for me, I'm not, but I know there are a few people that do, so check the trigger warnings that are in the front of her books. I absolutely love all of her writing. I've got one book of hers left to read, and I'm hoping to get to it this month, but we shall see. So if you have read Haunting and Hunting Adeline, then you will know who Molly is from Hunting Adeline. In the part of the book where Adeline is being trapped in that room, it's a room that Molly used to be trapped in, and Molly used to write letters, or like a diary, I can't remember which it was, and she hid them in the floorboards. Adeline finds them, and it really helps Adeline like get through her journey like while she's there. Molly is the only person prior to Adeline that has managed to escape. So this follows where Molly is now. So I remember seeing a post by H.D. Carlton that said that everyone is requesting like a book about Molly. I wouldn't quite say this is a novella because it's about 255 pages, I want to say, roughly off the top of my head, but I might be wrong. So this follows her on where she is now, but it goes into her backstory as well. So Molly didn't have a very good upbringing. Both her parents are addicts, and she's actually got a baby sister. Now the whole time Molly is gone, she is trying to get back to her sister, and that's the first thing that she does. Is when she escapes, she goes back to get her sister. She takes her little sister away with her. They're kind of not on the run, but they've obviously not got much of a life, with the fact that nobody knows where Molly is. They don't even know if she's alive. Obviously when she went missing, it hit like the news and stuff like that, so no one knows at this point where Molly is, if she's alive or whatever. So they kind of like have to keep a low profile, and they live like that for a few years. Unfortunately, Molly decides that she can't keep her sister forever, so she leaves her on the doorstep of her family. And then she decides that she wants to start a new life. So a guy called Cage helps her do that. That's what he does for a living. He gets people like fake IDs and sets them up in a new place, and that's what she did. Off she went. And fast forward, she is back. I can't remember what city it's based in, but she's back in that city. She's living a life of pure solitude. She wants to be alone. She's happiest that way after everything that she's been through. She is a pig farmer. She lives on a pig farm, like remotely in the woods. She lives in like a little cabin with a pig farm next to it, so she's just surrounded by nothing but nature. But she actually has a job for Legion where she basically disposes of dead bodies. So obviously she's escaped the life that she's in, but not fully, because she's still on like that dark side of it. Basically she ends up reconnecting with Cage, and he very much wants to be involved with her. She doesn't. So the story from that kind of unravels. It's quite funny. When this came out, me and my best friend both read it the same day, because with Haunting and Hunting Adeline, I read them first, and I was like, you need to read them, like you need to read them. So she did, and then I saw her a couple of days after we read them, and as I'm walking towards her, the first words out of her mouth are, "Did you read the extended epilogue?" And neither of us knew that there was one. So when we left, we both went home and we read it, and that's where Zaid comes back into it, which made me so happy. I love Zaid so much. I know he's very controversial. There's a lot of people that do not like him, don't understand the hype, but I think he's great. So yeah, it's been left open that there will probably be more. Whether it will be like more from Molly, more from Zaid and Adeline, more from Legion, or what, I don't know. But whatever she writes, I'll be reading it, and I can't wait. I just hope she doesn't keep us waiting for too long. But yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited. Next up we have Galatea by Madeline Miller. Obviously she's the author of Song of Achilles and Circe. I'm yet to read both of them. I have Circe, but I haven't read it yet. This is just like a short little story. It's about 56 pages with the afterword. This follows a marble sculptor who sculpts a woman, and then like he prays to the gods for them to bring her to life, and one of the gods grants his wish and brings her to life. He marries her, and straight away he expects her to please him, be obedient, like the perfect little wife kind of thing. He gets her pregnant literally the same day that brings her to life, I think, and he is very controlling of her. So he puts her in, like, I think she's like, I don't know if it's a hospital, but just like in a room where nurses, she's there 24/7 and nurses look after her, and there's a doctor, and he like convinces them that she's sick, she's not well, and she's trying to explain to them that obviously she used to be a sculptor, and they obviously don't believe her, because why would they? But she manages to break free from her husband, but not without like its consequences. That's all I'm going to say. It was an easy read. It didn't even take me 10 minutes to read it. It wasn't the best thing I've ever read. Obviously it's only a little short story, so it's not going to be, but yeah, I mean, I like her writing, so I am looking forward to getting stuck into Circe and Song of Achilles when I do finally buy it. But yeah, I think I rated it either 2 or 3 stars. I think it was 3. I rated Where's Molly 5 stars as well, obviously. Book number 3, we have Filthy Rich Vampire by Geneva Lee. This follows Julian, who is the vampire, and Thea, who is human. At the start of the book, Julian has just woke up from a really long sleep. I think he's been asleep for 39 years. He basically gets woke up by his assistant to say that he's got to go home, back to where his parents are, because loads of social events are happening where basically he needs to find a wife. At the very first party, Thea is there as part of the band. She plays the cello, and that's where he meets her. Straight away he's like captivated by her. He has no interest in finding a wife, but we learn that Thea's mum is quite unwell, and Thea is working multiple jobs to live and to pay for her mum's healthcare. And he basically offers her a deal where he will pay for her mum's healthcare if she pretends to be his girlfriend for a period of time. So that's what they do. But because she's pretending to be his girlfriend, she has to take part in like the social events that are happening, and obviously she's human, so she doesn't really stand much of a chance against them. But yeah, I mean, it was good. It wasn't great. I don't know if I've already said it, but this was my book club pick for February. Only me and my best friend read this one though, the other 2 didn't. I think I rated it 3 stars. I think there's 4 in total, so I would read the rest, but I'm not in a rush to do so, although it was left on a cliffhanger, so I do need to read like number 2 and find out what happens. I think all 4 books are based on Julian and Thea, but I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible either, so yeah, that's that. Lastly, I said I read a series, which was the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. There's 5 books in total. They are all kind of like interconnected. All the same characters are in each book, but each one focuses on a different couple. There are 3 brothers that each have a book, and then there's like, he's not a brother, but he basically grew up with them because of poor childhood issues and stuff like that, so he basically lives with them from a young age, and he is basically part of the family, but not by blood. And then the other one is one of the brothers, like work colleagues, co-worker kind of thing, mentor, should I say. Firstly, we have Flawless, which follows Summer and Rhett. Summer works at her dad's company, her dad is Rhett's manager. Rhett is a bull rider. He's got a couple of sponsors to begin with, I think for milk or something silly like that. He says some things that he's not supposed to, it gets overheard, it gets outed to the media, so he loses his sponsors, and he doesn't get hated, but he loses some of his fans as well, so he needs to try and win back the love of his fans and try and get some sponsors back. Summer obviously tries to help him do that. She basically ends up becoming like his babysitter, where she goes out to stay on his family's ranch while he's off work, basically to try and keep him in line, keep him in everyone's good graces, get back in people's good books, that kind of thing. It's dual point of view. They are enemies to lovers, forced proximity, small town romance. All of these are obviously small town romance because they all take place in the same place. I think I rated this one 4 stars. I wouldn't say this one was this was probably one of my favourites, but not the favourite. So it focuses on Summer as well, who growing up she was quite poorly. She spent a lot of time in hospital. Her first boyfriend, we get into like the backstory of that, which wasn't a very great relationship, and we figure out why as the book goes on. Obviously it's a romance, so they do end up together, of course. The first time reading anything by Elsie Silver, I know that these are really like raved about, so I was actually looking forward to reading these, and she is a good writer. I did enjoy them. So that's number 1. Number 2 is Heartless, which is Willa and Cade. Cade is the oldest brother of the 3, so Rhett's oldest brother. I think Rhett is the Rhett is the youngest, and Willa is Summer's best friend. Cade is a single dad. He doesn't have a very good relationship with the mother of his child. He has his son full time, it's completely in his care. But obviously he works on the family ranch, which she's trying to keep afloat. And Willa works in her brother's club. Cade is looking for a nanny, and Summer basically puts her up for the job, even though she's got no previous experience with children. Willa is a complete vibe. She's funny. I absolutely loved it. I think she's probably my favourite female out of the series. She's just no filter, says what comes to her mind straight away, like she doesn't care. It's just funny. They actually meet in a coffee shop before she goes for her interview. Straight away Cade is taken with her, but it's kind of like something happens, so he doesn't really approve of her being the nanny. She proves herself really quickly. His son is called Luke, and he absolutely loves Luke absolutely loves Willow. He falls in love with her straight away. This is like Grumpy Sunshine, where Cade is supposed to be grumpy and Willow is the sunshine, but Cade, I don't think he's actually grumpy. I think he's just overworked, stressed, like he's got a lot on. I rated this one 4 stars as well. Again, dual point of view, they all are. Anything else? Oh, it's a pregnancy trope as well. So if you don't like a pregnancy trope, I personally don't mind it. This might not be your favourite out of the 5. Book number 3 is Powerless. This follows Sloane and Jasper. Now Jasper is the not adoptive brother, but the brother that had a rough upbringing and practically lives with them. This follows them. Sloane is the brother's cousin, so they've known each other from a really young age. It's childhood lovers, it's childhood friends to lovers. This one, these are all slow burn, but this one to me just felt really slow. I only rated this one 3 stars because of it. But he is a hockey player and she is a dancer. She's basically not being forced, well, she's technically being forced into a marriage to another man because it will be good for her dad's business. So he wants her to get married, he convinces her to, so she does. And then the morning of her wedding, she sees a video of her fiance sleeping with another woman. So she finds the courage to end the marriage, and Jasper gets her out of there and they leave, and then she doesn't shut down, but she basically just turns her phone off and ignores everyone. She becomes like a really close with all the rest of the girls, and he, obviously it goes a bit into his backstory. In this one The other brother that is in the last book, he is like a soldier and he actually goes missing, which really affects Jasper. He's Jasper's best friend and he's the one that actually took Jasper home with him, and basically that's how he ends up living on the ranch, so they're really close. So we see a lot of that and him overcoming the fears that he's got there. But yeah, that's number 3. I only rated it 3 stars because, like I say, it just wasn't my favourite. Obviously they end up together and in love. Book number 4 is Reckless, which follows Winter and Theo. Theo is a bull rider and Rhett is his mentor. Winter is Summer's older sister. She gets seen as like an ice queen because she appears quite bitter, but as the story goes on you understand why. It's like very justified. I really liked her. I thought she was a great character. She's trying to get out of like a really bad marriage. It's toxic. They end up having like just a one-night stand where they come to an agreement that it will only happen once and they will never tell anyone about it. And then fast forward, she's pregnant, she has a baby, Theo doesn't know. She does try to tell him, but he doesn't have hold of his phone, so someone else replies and Theo is completely unaware. I think he comes back when the baby is about 9 months old. They end up making a go of things, they end up together, they're very happy, they're very well suited. Yeah, I did enjoy this one. This one again was 4 stars. I don't know if I said, but Powerless was 3 stars. That's the only one I rated 3 stars because I just, as much as I loved the characters, for me it was just slow, like a bit too slow. And then lastly, in the series, and the last book I read, is Hopeless, which is the last brother, Beau. He's the middle brother between Cade and Rhett. And then it's Bailey. Bailey comes from a family of older brothers that aren't very good. They are thugs basically, and she's constantly like living in the shadow of them. She's really good herself. Obviously in Powerless, I said Beau is the soldier, he goes missing, and the stuff that he enjoyed while he was away, he's trying to overcome. He's kind of like shut off from like his family and the rest of the world, like he just wants to be left alone to just deal with it by himself. Bailey obviously is trying to get away from her surname because of her family, like her dad and her brothers. She works in a pub and they basically strike up a deal to pretend they're engaged to prove that she doesn't need to have like her surname, like that's not going to affect her from getting to places if she wants to. She is a virgin as well, so that's like another trope. Again, dual point of view, they end up falling in love. Yeah, she wants out of the town, he kind of wants to stay, but they end up working it out. And yeah, that's pretty much it really. I know a lot of people don't really like this one very much. I thought it was good. I rated it 4 stars. It wasn't my favourite, but I did enjoy it overall. I thought their like romance was really cute, and yeah, so that's about it. That's the last book I read. I am looking forward to her next series. I can't think what it's called. I think the first one might be called Wild Love or something like that, which I believe might be about Willa's older brother, but I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm not sure if it's out yet or not. I'll have to look into that, but I did really enjoy her writing. First like kind of cowboy era romance series that I've ever read, but yeah, I enjoyed it. And that's all. They are the 3 books I read in January and the 8 that I read in February. If you stuck around and watched the whole video, thank you, I appreciate it. I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe if you want to. Obviously if you don't, then that's fine, but I would appreciate it. Not quite sure what my next video will be. Maybe it might be a book haul actually. Yeah, it might be a book haul, but I'm not sure. We shall see. So yeah, thank you. If you've watched it all, I appreciate it. Thank you for any support. Bye.